Welcome to the first episode of Matters Arising, where we bring you real-life stories that will make you think, reflect, and maybe even relate. Today, we're diving into a story that many might find familiar, a tale of love, sacrifice, betrayal, and the price of trust. Let's get started. Our story today centers on two people who we'll call Nancy and David to protect their identities. Nancy and David met while they were both in their late teens, full of hopes and dreams. David was a hard-working young man doing everything he could to make a living, while Nancy had just begun her journey through university. David loved Nancy deeply. From the moment he laid eyes on her, he knew she was special. They met right out of high school, a time when dreams were big and the future seemed limitless. She was beautiful, ambitious, and dreamed of becoming a doctor. Her passion for helping others was evident in everything she did. David, a mechanic with a good heart, was smitten. He admired her drive and determination, qualities he found irresistible. Nancy wanted to go to university, but her family couldn't afford it. The financial burden weighed heavily on her dreams. As their relationship grew, so did David's support for Nancy. David, seeing how much Nancy wanted to succeed, decided to help her financially. He covered her tuition fees, bought her textbooks, and even provided for her daily needs. He believed in her potential and saw this as an investment in their future together. David worked double shifts at the garage. He toiled late into the night, his hands covered in grease and sweat. He sacrificed his own desires to pay for Nancy's tuition, books, and living expenses. Every penny he earned went towards her education. He lived frugally, finding joy in Nancy's happiness and success. His simple meals and modest lifestyle were a small price to pay. He pictured her future, bright and full of promise. He believed their love story was one for the books. Years flew by and their bond only grew stronger. Nancy excelled in her studies. Her hard work and dedication paid off, and she's about to graduate. David beamed with pride, his heart overflowing with love for the woman she was becoming. He knew his sacrifices had been worth it. He imagined their future together, a testament to their shared journey. They talked about buying a house, starting a family, and growing old together. He couldn't wait to call her his wife. The thought of spending the rest of his life with her filled him with joy. Over the next 4 years, David spent a significant amount of his hard-earned money on Nancy's education and welfare. He saw it as his duty to help the woman he loved, confident that they would build a future together once she graduated. Nancy, on her part, seemed grateful and often reassured David that she was committed to their relationship. Finally, the day came when Nancy graduated. David was proud, feeling a sense of fulfillment that all his sacrifices were worth it. But little did he know, the story was about to take a sharp turn. Little did David know, a storm was brewing. Unseen challenges and unexpected twists were on the horizon. His sacrifice, his love, his unwavering support were about to be tested in a way he could never have imagined. The journey ahead would demand even more from him. He had bought a bouquet of lilies, Nancy's favorite. He couldn't wait to see the look on her face. He pictured her diploma in hand, radiant and proud. This was the culmination of their shared dream. He saw her across the crowded auditorium. She was even more beautiful than he remembered, but something was different. Her eyes were filled with a strange emotion he couldn't quite place. After graduation, Nancy started to pull away. At first, David thought she was just busy trying to find a job and adjust to post-university life. But then, one evening, Nancy asked to meet David for an important conversation. Nancy told David that she was no longer interested in continuing their relationship. She explained that she had met someone else, someone she believed was better suited for her new life. David was devastated. After everything he had done for Nancy, this was how she chose to end things. David couldn't believe what he was hearing. He reminded Nancy of all he had done for her, the money, the support, the sacrifices. But Nancy remained firm. She thanked David for everything, but said her mind was made up. The following weeks were a blur of pain and confusion. David couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't comprehend how his life had imploded. Every day felt like an eternity, and every night was a battle against the haunting memories. The woman he had sacrificed everything for had chosen someone else. The betrayal cut deep, leaving a wound that seemed impossible to heal. The future he envisioned vanished like smoke. Dreams of a shared life, of growing old together, were now just ashes in the wind. The story doesn't end there. A few days later, Nancy's new man, let's call him Mark, reached out to David. Mark had heard about all that David had done for Nancy, and in a move that left David even more stunned, he offered to compensate him. Mark was willing to pay David $10,000 for all his trouble, as he put it. Inside, nestled amongst legal documents, was a check. His eyes widened in disbelief as he read the amount. $10,000, a sum that could change his life. The amount mocked him, a tangible representation of his shattered dreams. He was furious. Was this a joke? Did they think this money could make up for everything he had lost? Did they think they could buy his silence? Could they really believe that a wad of cash could erase his pain and suffering? He wanted to scream, to throw the money back in Mark's face. The anger boiled within him, threatening to overflow. But as the initial anger subsided, a chilling thought crept in. What if this money could actually help him? $10,000 was a life-changing sum for him. It could open doors he thought were forever closed. It could help him start over, maybe even go back to school himself. The possibilities were endless. Was it wrong to accept help, even if it came from the source of his pain? The moral dilemma gnawed at him. He was trapped in a moral and emotional tug-of-war. The decision weighed heavily on his heart. Accepting the money felt like selling his love, his sacrifice. It felt like a betrayal to everything he held dear. But rejecting it wouldn't erase the pain or bring back Nancy. The loss was permanent, and no amount of money could change that. It wouldn't change the fact that he was alone, his future uncertain. The path ahead was unclear, and he felt lost in the maze of his emotions. David was caught between anger, hurt, and confusion. Was his love and support for Nancy something that could be reduced to a financial transaction? Was $10,000 supposed to make up for the years of sacrifice, the dreams he had built with Nancy, and the betrayal he now felt? The weight of the decision pressed down on David. $10,000. It represented a fresh start, a chance to rebuild his life. He could finally pursue his own dreams, the ones he had put on hold for Nancy. But the money came at a price he wasn't sure he was willing to pay. Accepting it felt like condoning Nancy's actions, like putting a price tag on their love. It felt dirty, wrong.
He imagined his friends' reactions, the pity in their eyes. Could he live with himself knowing he had profited from his own heartbreak? Could he look himself in the mirror knowing he had chosen money over his dignity?
The check seemed to burn a hole in his hand. It was a constant reminder of his betrayal, a symbol of his broken heart. He didn't know what to do, or which path to choose. And this is where we leave you, our audience, to step in. What would you do if you were in David's shoes? Should he accept the money as some form of closure, or would taking it only cheapen the love and effort he put into the relationship? Can trust ever be truly compensated, or is it priceless?
Now it's your turn. Share your thoughts, opinions, and advice in the comments section below. Remember, your insights could help someone else going through a similar situation. Thank you for watching the first episode of Matters Arising. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay thoughtful, and let's keep the conversation going. Bye for now.